Welcome to the How I Met Your Mother podcast for the episode entitled False Positive. This is the 12th episode of the 6th season and the 124th episode of the series. Joining us today are two of the staff writers who have penned this episode, Craig Gerard and Matt Zinman. My name is Alec Lev, and welcome to you both.
Thank you very much.
Introduce yourself so we know who's who.
I'm Matthew Zinman, and this is my writing partner.
I'm Craig Gerard.
Why don't you tell us about your rise to power here at How I Met Your Mother?
Well, I hate to use the term hostile takeover, but I'm going to use the term hostile takeover.
Go for
Maybe
it.
A coup.
Sure.
No, basically, Craig actually started working here the first season.
Yeah, I was the writer's production assistant, where I got all the writers their lunches and their coffees.
Blitz is current.
Yes, I was
Absolutely.
I was Blitz, and then from there I was lucky enough to get promoted to writer's assistant, where you sit in the room when the writers are talking about ideas and working on the scripts, and you kind of just type everything down. You're in the corner. Sometimes they refer to you as the computer, and then from there we were given a chance to write a few episodes. So
Yeah,
we were very lucky.
I joined the show season 3 when a spot opened up to be Carter and Craig's assistant. Carter and Craig, the two creators of the show, and I jumped in season 3, and Craig and I both got we actually got an episode to write in season 4, and then another one in season 5, and this is our first year officially as staff writers, and this is our first episode as a staff writer right now.
Yes.
And so how was the experience writing your first episode? Oh, writing your first episode as full staff writers.
It was just incredible. I mean, we're just so happy and lucky and just thankful for just getting a chance to write an episode. So I think that number one, our first thought was just don't screw this up.
Yes.
And number two is just to try and take it all in and have as much fun as we can. And
Right. Enjoy the ride along the way, and just be appreciative throughout.
yeah, it's honestly it's the most fun job I've ever had in my life before. So we're just trying to enjoy it, and everyone here is just incredible. So.
And it's the second most fun job I've ever had. I was a houseboy at a sorority, so that was pretty good.
Did you screw it up?
A little bit. We
I
kind of did a little bit.
I think we might have.
Yeah.
I hope we didn't. We'll see. We just finished shooting. We like how everything came out.
Yeah.
Everyone was incredible. So let's hope we didn't screw it up.
So you were around here listening to the writing process before you were writing. What
Mhm.
can you think of some specific things that you learned while listening before it came time for you guys to write?
I think one of the main things that I learned when I was in the room before was just how to go about coming up with stories. The jokes, you pick up the rhythms and stuff like that, but coming up with how to map out a story from start to finish by coming up with the act breaks first and saying, okay, I want this character to get here eventually. How do we get him there? And then working with specific points in mind is extremely helpful when breaking a story, and I didn't know that going in.
Yeah, I think too, just being a staff writer and being surrounded by all these people with so much experience that have been on all these different crazy incredible shows that we grew up watching and loving. So much of it is just you're sitting in a chair trying to be a sponge and just trying to listen to just everyone, just how they pitch jokes and how they pitch stories and everything like that, and just trying to learn as much as you can. Also, while trying to contribute, it's trying to balance that, and that's what we're trying to do.
It's like being a student and trying to impress the professors. That's what it feels like.
That's really what it is. Yeah, it's funny because you're in a room with like 10 or 12 or 5 or 6 of the funniest people you ever met, and everyone's trying to make each other laugh, and everyone is funnier than you, and you're trying to make them laugh.
So you make them laugh just a little bit, you feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
That's all you're trying to do.
And how are the assignments for the episodes given? Is it like the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice just hands them out and tries to balance it? We have a guest.
We have a guest.
Special guest.
Who do we have?
Special guest. Come on in.
Oh,
wow.
Jesse Olsen Milkman just stepped in. Jesse, say hi to the fans.
Hi, fans. I work here. I am here to have you
Can we do the
during
coffee
podcast.
pull live?
Wow.
Absolutely. What's happening right now?
Wow, right now this is what we have here is
This is breaking news,
What we
folks.
have here is
unbelievable.
every day at about 2 o'clock after lunch we like to get coffee from the Starbucks that's on the lot, and so in order to decide who pays for the coffee, we have what's called a coffee box, which is just this box here that inside are different water bottle caps with people's initials on them, and whoever's caps get pulled, they have to pay for coffee. So I get to pick today, so I'm going to pick live. We're picking live.
Picking live, spinning,
We're picking
and
live.
pulling.
We're picking live. We're picking live, and paying for coffee today is SL stands for
Stephen
Stephen
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Ooh.
Did he get coffee today?
Yes, he did.
He sure
And
did.
Stephen Lloyd has to pay for coffee today.
Paying for coffee.
Damn.
And that is the coffee pull.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, Jesse.
That is the most action we've had.
A lot of action. Special guest. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesse.
I will be back for return appearances on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Fantastic.
Very nice.
All right.
Thank you.
sir.
And where were we?
Who cares?
Right. It's
How are the assignments given out?
It's basically Carter and Craig, the executive producers, decide, but it'll be it's pretty much the hierarchy. It normally goes down the list. Matt and I are at the bottom, which we're happy to be. And eventually, sometimes it'll switch, like depending on which room you're in, because we have such a big staff that we'll split up the rooms and try to come up with stories at the same time. So if we were in a room, that everyone else had gotten assigned a script already, then we might get one before someone else. But it's basically up to Carter and Craig.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, we don't have to talk about numbers here, but I'm sure the move from writer's assistant to writer, the paycheck bumped up a little bit.
It does increase.
What was the first exciting thing you guys decided to get?
Good question. I think, basically with the first script that we got, I actually used a significant portion to buy an engagement ring for my now wife.
Wow.
So that's pretty much what I did. And then it was funny. The first script we got, I put it towards the engagement ring. The second script we got, I put it towards the wedding. And so now, basically, everything I've gotten from the episodes has been spent before I really even had it. But yeah, I mean.
Another guest
is
coming in.
It's gonna be Penn from Penn.
We're rounding in the big room.
Kristen.
Are you guys in the middle of?
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing stuff.
We're doing a podcast.
It's all good. It's all
Happy
good.
podcasting.
Thank you.
Thank you. What was the message? Our fans missed it. What?
Rounding in the big room.
Okay.
Rounding in
Now
the
that
big
will
room.
mean that all the writers.
That was a euphemism.
All the writers are gathering in the conference room to come up with the plan for the afternoon.
Yes.
That's what rounding in the big room means.
Okay.
Back to the pay. Craig had upgraded from.
Well, that's right. I cashed in my clunker.
I was saying from your probably 300 square foot.
Oh yeah, there was that too.
To roughly a 400 square foot one bedroom. So Craig moved up in the world.
I did.
He has a window. He has a window now.
I have a window. I can see outside. And I cashed in my clunker when that program was going on because my car was slowly but surely falling apart and polluting the world, and I was able to put a payment down on a new car.
All right, so tell us a little bit about False Positive.
False Positive is essentially the story of the around 36 hours in between the time when Lily and Marshall think that they are pregnant to the time that they find out that they're indeed not pregnant, and the ramifications it has on the rest of the gang.
And basically, the news leads Ted and Robin and Barney to take a look at their own lives and make some decisions that they then reverse based on whether or not Marshall and Lily are pregnant.
Because among such a close group of friends, such a big happening in your life, whether it's a baby or getting married or anything like that, it doesn't just affect the people that it happens to; it affects everyone around them. And so the story essentially is after Marshall and Lily tell the news that they are pregnant, just how it affects Robin, Barney, and Ted, and the different ways that they reevaluate their own lives. And it's a Christmas themed episode, so we got to shoot outside.
Yeah, with snow and everything.
Last night
it was very
we had
fun.
snow, so we had a nice little New York Christmas scene, which was awesome because we never shot outside before, and that was a lot of fun for us.
I'm sure the crew was a little distressed that they had to stay late and work out in the cold and everything, but we were thrilled.
We think it's gonna be worth it.
It was actually cold in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it was chilly last night.
It was freezing. It was like 55.
Tell me about your writing process when it comes to actually. You're in front of a computer. Do you guys literally sit in front of a computer together?
We actually don't. We started to do that. We first started writing together, I think, in college, but we found that
we were very close to killing each other when we did that.
So basically what we do is when we have a story together, we'll come up with a story together, or in this case, as a group with the writing staff, and then we'll kind of make assignments for each other where, we'll say, Craig, you write Act 1, I'll write Act 2, and then once our assignments are done, then we'll switch and we'll email the files to each other, and then we'll each take individual passes on each.
And we'll keep on going back and forth, just back and forth until we're both happy with it. And then at the end, we'll sit down together and just go over the whole thing and then just make little changes as we go.
Yes, and once we have a finished document, we'll print it out together and then be in the same room going over kind of the last polish and stuff. But we do write separate and then bring it all together.
Do you guys have characters that are either easier or harder for you to write?
Good
No,
question.
that's a great question. I think it really depends on what the story is.
Yeah.
Because the best episodes come from, or the best jokes and comedy comes from like a character reacting to a specific situation that is very specific to them. So, like for instance, this like a previous episode we wrote was The Perfect Week with Barney, and it was much easier to write Barney jokes in that episode because the whole episode was based around what Barney was doing. In this episode, we actually had some fun because everyone had their own little story going on. So, like, for instance, Lily Marshall, when hearing that they might be pregnant, they have a lot of fun and a lot of jokes to be had. And so it just really depends on what the story is.
Mm-hmm. But what's great is that, I mean, writing for a show in its sixth season, the characters are so well defined right now
Right.
that the jokes really just, like, out of any situation, jokes will just come out of it just from the characters. Whereas I'm sure if you're writing on a show that isn't established, it would be harder.
Tell me about working with Alex Trebek. Is he tired of doing Jeopardy jokes?
He didn't seem like he was tired of doing Jeopardy jokes. He was a gamer.
He
The
was a gamer.
We realized after that he's been on TV for like 25 years
Yeah,
or
I think
something
he
like
started
that.
hosting in 1984, and I think that we asked, they shoot 10 shows a week of Jeopardy.
Yeah,
about
5 a
200
day on
shows,
Mondays and Tuesdays.
About 200 plus shows a year. So he's done just a ton of shows of Jeopardy.
I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
We have a
We
little...
have-
Wow.
Wow. Oh my. It was someone's birthday today,
Yeah.
Apparently.
We just missed the singing.
Yeah.
But what was so great was, Alex Trebek, he hosts a fictional game show, $1 Million Heads or Tails, in our episode, and just the second he's on camera, he just reeks of game show host.
Yeah.
He just immediately, it seemed like he was hosting that game show like 4,000 episodes.
It seemed like he had been hosting that show forever, and that he was tired of hosting that show almost. Like, I've had enough of this, but he was great. He was hilarious.
He was fantastic, and he was pitching jokes on set and everything like
Yeah.
that, and he was just great.
I just watched a Larry Sanders episode where he plays the officiant at Hank's wedding.
Really?
They have on the air, and this is 15 years ago,
Yeah.
so he's...
Wow.
I guess he's the go-to guy for this.
And he's a real pro too. You give him
yeah.
we had little changes, where sometimes trip people up, and he was.
And I feel like he was
fantastic.
only there for like an hour, and he just banged out his scenes.
Mhm.
It was like, all right, he was just like complete pro. It was amazing.
So my last question is, the draft that was read at the table read on Monday seemed like there was a lot of changes
Yes,
by
were.
Wednesday.
Yes.
What's the process there? Who says we
Well, I
need to make
think-
some changes? Who makes those changes?
Well, we basically the table read. There was just the table read is when the actors read the script for the first time in front of everybody, and you get to hear it. And so normally you just try to hear what jokes work or don't work, and try to punch those up. And that's the best case scenario. In this case, there was some story confusion, and just it's an episode that plays with time, and basically in those it's a advantages that are of the way we tell stories on the show that we can do that, but it also creates some confusion sometimes. And so in hearing it, we just decided let's try to clear it up as much as possible, so that everything makes sense and that the jokes will be as funny as possible. And so that comes from Carter and Craig, who basically we all sat down together and said, okay, let's try to clear some things up, and so in all the rewrites, that's what we were trying to do, and we hope we got it to a good place. We think we did definitely better than what we had. So
yeah, I think that basically for Monday we were trying to have try to play with time too much, in the sense of have jokes on the A side that then on the B side paid off, but just all throughout. And I think that on the next 2 days in the rewrites was just really trying to make things as clear as possible, and then let the jokes come from there. And that was Carter and Craig just having the vision for what the episode would be, and then just kind of try to have that come out in the rewrite. And I think that hopefully it did.
Yes.
Tomorrow is our last regular season game for softball.
Yes.
Are you guys coming?
I will be there. I will be there tomorrow.
I'm going to be in New York, so I'm going to miss it. But I will be cheering very hard from where I am, I promise.
Cheering very hard from where you are?
Yeah, in my heart.
In your heart?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will be there, and we're going to win. We're going to make the playoffs.
There you go. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for this week's podcast. Remember to watch How I Met Your Mother on CBS Monday nights and every day in syndication. Check your local listings. Learn more and watch exclusive clips at cbs.com. Find us on Facebook on both the How I Met Your Mother page and the Robin Sparkles fan page. and follow us on Twitter at himium_CBS, himiumprod, himium_writers, and broslife. My name is Alec Lev, and thanks for listening.